initially, when the children come, we'll love for them to go to Ghana, live in Ghana for at least minimum a year or two,
right.
At least have that experience that we had, and then if they want to come back to the UK or whatever, then fine. And I think as time went on, as the children got a little bit older, we were homeschooling. It gave us the flexibility to travel to Ghana out of season. You know, we can travel 2 or 3 trips for the price of one if we were to do it in the summer holidays,
right.
And really get a taste. And it got to a point where, you know, we were looking for the children. Like, where's going to be the place in 10, 15, 20 years time? Is it going to be the UK? You know, when you're reading the news reports, you're like, growth is at a minimal, you know, it's going to take 10, 15, 20 years to pay off that debt.
Brexit.
Yeah.
Brexit, all these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? It makes sense
to
come here. And, you know, we had family here already. Some had made that jump back in the 80s and would recommend it. You know, they struggle. They're like, they've laid the foundation for us.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's for us to come and build upon it. And, you know, for us, we just said, you know what? Why not?
Boom! What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in West Africa. And if you want to know why this couple would leave the UK and move to Ghana to raise their children, then this is the video for you. Okay, cool. So we have some special guests today. The couple known as Destination Africa. The channel on YouTube is Destination Africa TV, if I'm not mistaken. They are a really dynamic couple. They work together to do homeschooling for their children. They do programs on entrepreneurship and these different workshops for children, and their parents get a lot out of these as well. They bring in different people to kind of help bring out the most of these children. It's really, really dope. They teach them integrity, entrepreneurship, a bunch of different stuff. Really, really interesting people. Michael used to work for Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. Abena had a hair shop in England. So really powerful entrepreneurs and business people and high-level workers in their own right. And then they came here and built something different. And so they talk a little bit about how they met. It's a very interesting story. They met in Ghana, and then it's the whole thing. And then also what it's like for them to raise their kids here and why they chose to raise their kids here and what it's been like for them moving back here and for their kids to be here. Also, what decisions they had to make the move to get here. So you get all of that and more. Check it out. And I want to thank Exotic Park Apartments. They do garden weddings, honeymoon facilities. They have events and receptions, canopy tables and chairs, sale and rentals. So if you guys are here in Accra and you want to get married or you need a place for a honeymoon, this is the place for you. So I'm here about to get ready to interview both Abena and Michael. They have a really, really, really nice place that they're staying in. Man, it's really nice. So this place is a big house, has an apartment building on this premises, and then it doubles as an event space. So they do weddings here, they do workshops here. Really, really nice place. I mean, look at this in the background. All of this space is on their premises. So really, really dope spot. I can't wait to interview them and talk to them more about what they do. So check it out. Boom! What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in Accra, Ghana. And today, I got 2 special guests with me. I have Abena and Michael of Destination Africa.
That's the one.
So first of all, thank you both for doing this.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
This is round 2.
Yeah.
We tried this before at the Meet and Create event.
Yeah.
I went back and listened to it, and it was so much background noise that it wasn't going to be audible for you all. So we found some time to come back and meet up again at your amazing place. This is a really, really nice place. But yeah, so we met before at the Meet and Create event.
Yeah.
First, let's sit and talk about that, because I think that was an awesome idea. So Wodemaya put it up on his Instagram page, right?
Yeah.
He put up a post saying, I'm doing this Meet and Create event. It was him, Vanessa Camby, and who's the third guy again?
Put your Sheldon.
Yes, yes. And the idea was for us to get together, meet, and create, and then network, right?
Yeah.
And so what was your experience there? I mean, I first of all, I heard you get up and speak, right? And
Right.
talk about what you guys are doing, talk about our melanin and the stories that our children are learning and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, I need to meet these two. So immediately following, I came up to you guys, right? And I was like, let's definitely talk. I would love to interview you guys. But beyond that, like in terms of the experience, how was it for you guys?
You know what? It was going in, we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
We just knew that it was a great idea that Wade had managed to put something like this together. Wade managed to pull this through.
Right.
And the fact that, we are a community now. When you look at the YouTube community, it's grown over the years, and people are now just telling their stories, telling what their interests are and what they're good at. And for him to bring all of us together to meet, network, create, I thought it was an amazing idea.
Yeah.
So when we met, it was literally like a plethora of talent in the same room, the same house, and it was an opportunity. So you know what? Thanks for that, because we wouldn't have known this young man here today.
Yes.
And for us, it was great.
We were fruits of coming together.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think one thing I love about Wade is his vision.
Yep.
He's not just thinking about the here and the now. And he realizes himself that there's only so much he can do as one person.
Right.
Everybody's pulling and tugging.
Oh yeah.
But now he's trying to create those spaces where, you guys sit in one place, you guys speak, and today's happening because of that.
Absolutely. Yes. And so, this is awesome. And I want to talk to you all about Destination Africa. And I usually start by saying, but I had to get that out there because I thought that was so cool. So a little bit about yourselves and what do you guys do with Destination Africa?
Okay, so you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Oh, ladies first.
Ladies first. You know what? This means he's actually throwing me in the firing line.
We always follow the ladies first.
Yeah, just throw us in there. So I am Abena Richardson, 1/5 of the Destination Africa family, immediate family, should I say.
Sure.
And this is my better half, Michael Richardson. Together we have 3 children. And Destination Africa was something that was really born out of raising our children the way in which we would leave legacies for them to be able to have strong foundations to follow on and make something generational of it.
Right.
And I guess by that we mean when you look at other ethnicities, they tend to teach their children how to speak their languages, they know their culture, their traditions, their heritage, their history, and based on that they identify with that. So all of that builds an identity whereby they can almost acknowledge that if granddad could do it, if granddad created the traffic lights and created the gas mask and so on and so forth, then I can do it.
Right.
But now, I guess, as time has gone on and we can see the trends that are happening right now, all our children tend to emulate after the same things. And so we emulate after the Batmans and the Frozens and the whatnot. And then what happens is because there isn't that trust element within ourselves, it doesn't then move on to each other. And so as we grow up, you look at our credit cards and our economy is exactly the same. You couldn't tell the difference between a Ghanaian credit card and say a European credit card. We're all spending on the same things. However, we're feeding our money into other communities. But it has to start from ground zero.
Right.
So that's pretty much why we started Destination Africa.
Nice.
And how we do it, I guess I'll just leave it for you to.
So for us, the way we raised our children, we wanted them to learn the language first and foremost.
Okay.
And everything about the culture around it. But we were very intentional about it. We decided that we wanted their experience of Africa or being African, growing up in an African household to be really fun and positive. So everything we used to do at home was fun and impactful. When you get told off, you get told off in English. When you get rewarded in truth.
Nice.
And lots of little games we did and played and books and everything. And we basically just formulated that into a program for other children, for other families, just so that everyone can get involved and say, this is something we should be doing. Because I think, including ourselves, we're guilty of saying, the school system is there to raise the children. But as parents, there are certain elements which are specific for the parents.
Right.
To say, hey, it's your responsibility to teach your children about themselves.
Right.
Or at least to put them in a place where that isn't lacking. And allow them to know who they are in this world. And by all means, once you've done that, the world is your oyster.
Sure.
That's sort of how Destination Africa sort of spawned and the sort of the way or the direction of the program.
Yeah.
Nice. So, I think about other ethnicities that I know in the US, and there is just as much education happening in the home as in school.
Yeah.
But as Black Americans in general, school does most of it because you're dealing most of the time with a single parent household. That person's at work all the time and they don't have that time or the energy to even help with homework, right? and you notice that the outside world raises your children.
Yeah.
So I think this is really important because I think it gives kind of a template or a blueprint, right?
Yeah.
So can you guys talk a little bit about the workshops that you do and what it is that you do in those workshops to kind of help parents find a way to do exactly what it is that you guys just mentioned?
Sure. I think it's like what you just said, they say charity begins at home, and that is so powerful because when you talk to anybody about their foundations, they can remember, looking back, you can remember bits about school, but it's really what your parents did or whoever raised you did that really sticks in your memory, and it kind of formulates the man that you are today.
Sure.
So when we started these classes, we were thinking, oh my goodness, okay, we know children are learners of today, leaders of tomorrow. We know our saying in Africa is that it takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
My children would have to automatically call you uncle when they see you, just because you would assume the role of father figure. If you know something good, you would give it to them with good intention, right? So we were thinking, okay, we can't just do this for our children because we have to recognize that everybody else's children is also or are also our children. So we thought, okay, there has to be a community of this. And like you say, we're often guilty of complaining about the situation but not necessarily doing anything about it. So to show children that we have to be the change that we want to see, we brought the children together and we thought, okay, what are other ethnicities doing that are actually making them successful? It's not about reinventing the wheel here. So then we realized that as well as their children go into school, this is other ethnicities, they would have Saturday schools and they would teach them about, their history, their language, the culture and all of that. And then what we would do is we would get other parents involved, and that's where the village came along. So say if you were good at architecture and we were having a theme about architecture, right, so let me go back. So we have every term, it's between 12 to 15 weeks.
Okay.
And in those 12 to 15 weeks, we would learn about the history, the language, the culture. We throw in critical thinking, we throw in entrepreneurship. So you've got 5-year-olds that can tell you about mortgages, interest rates, what you should be taking out. We've taught imports and exports. We've taught the law, your rights. We've taught health and safety, how you would react if you saw your mum, affected in a stroke, how you would react if you saw your mum affected in a heart attack, your granddad, if you had diabetes, how much sugar. So all of these kinds of things.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're things that children don't necessarily learn at school, or if they did, they kind of catch up too late.
Sure.
But it's understanding that the world is your oyster and you can pretty much implement anything, start a business, do whatever you want, given the age that you have, given the skills that you have in your gift sets. So we implement these things so that our children can literally think outside the box, and it is critical thinking because you're not really being taught what to think, you're being taught how to think. And then within the community, we also teach what you see on our t-shirts is patience, unity and respect. So all of that kind of merged into what we really sort of emphasize on is body language, eye contact, and projecting your voice, because there's a way that people receive you when you, So it's very wholesome, it's all encompassing, and literally you're raising a community of confident young people who can go anywhere and not be swayed because they know who they are, they're deep rooted, but they know the world.
Right.
And that's what.
And just to add to that, we try to do as much of that in fun as possible.
Yeah.
Sure.
So all these serious things and these ethoses are covered with, and they are sweet cinnamon
Of noise and games.
Interactions. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's all really awesome. I love it. Whenever the day comes that I decide to have children,
Right.
I'll be figuring out all of the Destination Africa. How can I get involved in?
Sure. You should come to one of our classes.
I would love to.
Adults, the adults, they love it.
Yeah, I would love to. Even some of the topics that you mentioned, I think would just be good for me to get a refresher or learn from. So I can imagine it could be beneficial for the parents as well as the kids. So.
Yeah.
It is. We have a saying when we say pay for the children and the adults go for it.
Yeah, I got it.
So it's, we try to make it as interactive. It's not just your children.
Yeah.
You are part of it, and children love it when their parents are there. We throw them on the spot. We're like, what flag is this? We just learned this today. If you're on your mobile phone, you weren't paying attention.
Right.
We'll catch you out. But a lot of times they too want to make their children proud. So it's a family affair.
Nice. Now, is it something that you can do remotely or is it in person right now?
So we've done it remotely and it was really successful.
Okay.
We did a whole 15 weeks remotely.
Okay.
And that was nice because we had everybody able to attend. So we had people from Tanzania, South Africa, UK, US, and they built a family in and around that themselves.
Okay.
And even with that, it was amazing because we were were able to teach cooking. So we did some jollof rice, and then people went off into their respective kitchens with their cameras, their phones, and they had a taste test. And then what you would do is you do a presentation after that. So it was made for, say, if you were in a class for Joe's restaurant, and on your menu would be that recipe, and then you would have to present it to the rest of it. So it's so creative, and yes, you can online and offline. It's available.
Nice. Okay, cool. I do want to go back and get a little bit of an idea of who you two are. Because, obviously for you to build a business like this, you have to have some kind of upbringing that led you to this. And so I'm really interested to hear, your individual stories, and then also how you met and how you decided to come here, all of that. We'll get to that. Let's start from the beginning, right? You're Ghanaian?
Yeah,
right?
Ghanaian, yeah.
And so let's talk about that. Let's talk. So you guys decide who goes first.
Okay.
But I'd love to hear what your upbringing is, where your parents are from, all of that.
Oh wow, Joe's going deep now.
Ladies first.
Yeah, you see, he's doing it to me again. This feels like when you go in for marriage and they're like, who's your father? Who's your father's father? So Joe's ready. He's ready. Okay, so I guess both parents are Ghanaian, born and raised. I was born in the UK. Came over here when I was 3 years old and went back when I was 9. So foundational primary years are all here. And then went back, like I said, at the age of 9. Because I'd experienced a bit of the Ghanaian lifestyle, culture, I had that kind of grounding in the culture.
Sure.
Now, growing up in the UK, I had become a young adult, as they say in the UK.
Sure.
And I met this young man. Met him over here, but we'll go into that story in a bit.
I'll put mine.
Okay.
So similar, both Ghanaian heritage. Born in the UK. Came to Ghana. I was probably about very young, about 2ish. Stayed till about 5,
You were young.
6, and then been in the UK ever since.
Okay.
So I met this lady.
Okay, so on that note, where did you two meet?
We actually both met in the Bali Beach in Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the short version.
All right. So you guys were back on holiday, or how? Okay. So you were here on holiday. So it was in the December time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Christmas time.
Okay.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna make it very short. But,
Sure.
I had a salon in the UK, and there was a client that had just come into the salon the day before I traveled to Ghana. This was back in 2003.
Okay.
So she was recommended by a mutual friend that we had. And when she came in, I told her that I would be able to do her hair because I was traveling out to Ghana. So she mentioned that she'd been to Ghana the year before, but she wouldn't be coming in that year because she'd been the year before. However, her brother was going, and I'm sure he was going to have a good time in there. Yeah. So I came over here first time as an adult because all the other times I've been with parents. So we were coming.
It's a much different experience.
Yeah. We were coming to have a good time, experience it on our own as young adults and everything. So I remember that day we came, first time we came, we rested a bit, and then something said to us, let's just hit the beach. So we went to the beach, and as we're walking, there's a guy sort of walking towards us, and he's hopping on one shoe. So we're attempting to ignore him, but then I'm looking at this guy, and because he's hopping on the one shoe, Joe, I'm like, we can't do this to him, let's just hear him out, kind of thing. So my friend was interested, she was like, come on, let's go. So anyway, we speak to him, and he has a couple of friends that he's with, so they come over, they introduce themselves, and one of them was Michael. So we spoke, we exchanged numbers, and unfortunately I lost his number, and he went back to the UK. So with the hope that one day maybe we might see each other again. So I think 2 months after I went back to the UK, I'm in the salon, I'm doing someone's hair, and at the time we didn't have a computer system, so normally what I do is I check the names in the book, and I'd expect everyone that would be coming in. So the same young lady that came to book the appointment before we went to Ghana, who said her brothers would be going to Ghana, comes in and she walks in with a young man, but he goes straight to the reception desk, so he's got his back against me. So I said to her, I don't remember your name being in the book, and the reason I remembered her was because she has the same name as my sister.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, I don't remember your name being in the book. And she says, oh, no, I'm not here to get my hair done today. My brother said that he went to Ghana and he met a young lady who said she had a salon in this area, and we're just here to see if, just then the young man turns around and it happens to be him who was stalking me. And after
you can imagine what it's like for me. I had to go to a hair salon.
Right.
A hair salon, that's like the lion's den.
He loved it. Yeah.
My
Things you do for love, Joe.
Right, yeah. And it worked out, obviously.
There we go.
Here we are. A few years later.
Yeah, you need to tell the tale.
Awesome. And so, that is an awesome story, by the way. Very interesting story. I'm sure you've told it many times before, so I'm sure our audience is going to love it. So, in terms of the decision to move here, right? I mean, so you guys met in Ghana, you reconnected in the UK, but moving to Ghana is a whole different thing. I decided to do it as a single person, no kids, nobody else that I have to consult with. How did you guys both decide you were moving? Did you both know that you were going to move back? I mean, how did you come to the decision to come to Ghana?
He knew.
I think for us, we spoke about the conversation.
Okay.
We had a very similar background. We both spent time in Ghana when we were young, and we both appreciated the benefits of it. Because one thing I found personally amongst my friends were the friends that I know that lived both outside of the UK and in the UK had a different perspective on life. They knew hard times. Right. Where some of my friends who were like, it was an expectancy, like, okay, if you don't do it, the government will take care of you. Or whatever. There was that where you don't have that social security system to take care of you. And because of that, it lets you, it makes your mind, it takes your mind to a different place. That's right. And we both saw the benefits of that. And we said, you know what, initially, when the children come, we would love for them to go to Ghana, live in Ghana for at least minimum a year or two, at least have that experience that we had. And then if they want to come back to the UK or whatever, then fine. And I think as time went on, as the children got a little bit older, we were homeschooling. It gave us the flexibility to travel to Ghana out of season. We can travel 2 or 3 trips for the price of one if we were to do it in the summer holidays, and really get a taste. And it got to a point where, we were looking for the children. Like, where's going to be the place in 10, 15, 20 years time? Is it going to be the UK? When you're reading the news reports, you're like, growth is at a minimal, debt it's going to take 10, 15, 20 years to pay off that debt.
Brexit,
all these things happen. I said, you know what? It makes sense to come here. And, we had family here already. Some had made that jump back in the 80s and would recommend it. They struggle. They've made the foundation for us. And it's for us to come and build upon it. And, for us, we just said, you know what, why not? And then it became a journey.
Nice. I actually just thought about it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You guys both spent some formative years here, 2 to 5, 2 to 3 to 9, right? And so I can imagine that kind of took place in your mind when you were thinking about raising your own kids, right? So what do you remember about those experiences? Because I feel like it impacted your lives as adults and as you're raising your children. What do you remember about those experiences being that young and moving to Ghana that made its way into your current psyche and how you decided to move forward with your kids?
It's funny. I actually remember when we first came over here, there was that it was a Rawlins era. So it was a time where Ghana wasn't the easiest place to live. There was hunger, there was financial restrictions, there were curfews, there was so much going on where my parents could have easily given up. And I think at certain points they almost gave up. But it was also a time in the UK where my dad was being told he was overqualified for every job that he would go for because of the colour of his skin. And so it was make or break. And it was either you stayed and you tried to make it work, or we go back and we do the hustle and be told every time, you're overqualified and you're confident. Exactly. So I saw the progression of my parents doing the hustle and, trying to make it work with the little that we had. I remember there were lines of people, you would line up to get bread, and it was that kind of era. But then I guess when you see your parents kind of going through that transition, it's almost an encouragement for you that you just don't give up. So then, and also that home is home. You just make it work regardless, So it was growing up through that and then seeing the progression, seeing the development, seeing the growth, and then having to go back to the UK. and it was a completely different ballgame because then by that time I was settled over here. I was loving the environment. This was who I was, my people. And it's funny because there were certain things that when you went to the UK, you didn't even realise that people had those kind of notions about yourself. You know, you just come from Ghana, you guys live in trees. You know, there's those those sorts of conversations, and you're just like, my house was 10 times bigger than yours, but yeah, due to circumstances, you're here. So as time went on, I was more exposed to people who, or should I say aunties and uncles, who were trying to make it work in the UK. And then my mindset again changed, and it was, oh, you're told the glitz and glam of the West, and you're told that, you know, staying there would make it work. It's almost this false sense of comfortability, and in Africa it's too risky, so don't go back. Yeah, definitely. So I remember when, you know, I have to credit us coming to Ghana to this young man, because Michael had this vision from a very long time, and it did take some convincing, and it did take this is your home. You know, we can't sit and keep complaining about being second-class citizens and then passing that on to our children. And So I think we came back in 2007. Was it 2007? And that was the Kufuor era, and Ghana was starting to really pick up, and young people were doing things, and you know they weren't waiting for people to literally tell them that you can go ahead and grab this and do this. And one thing my dad always used to say to us is, if we came in that era and we could make it, there's no reason why you can't come and start from somewhere and, you know, try to make it. So I think there was a community of people coming with us as well, and we thought, you know what, now is the time to do it. So yeah.
You mentioned growing up in Ghana. Things I remember, it was little things, like I remember standing by the window when the rain pours, and it pours, and you can run out and play in the rain. You know, little nostalgic things like that. I remember on one trip we came, and for our summer holidays we went to live in a village with my grandfather, and they were my uncles, but they were only a few years older, about 4 years older than us. So we would literally sleep in the morning, we'll wake up, go and fetch water from the stream, bring it up, pour it in the barrel. You know, we'll go to the farm, we'll plant orange trees, like even the smell, like I remember the smell, like, so sometimes you go back to the village and you just get that smell, it's like, I remember it back, you know. So I always had fond memories, you know. I think as time grew, I think living in the UK and seeing family and friends write to my dad, like, oh dad, we need help and this and that, brought a different perspective on it. Like, it allowed me to appreciate where I was for that particular time, and the access to education and information and some of the things. I think one trip, the trip I met Abena, I brought a friend of mine who was originally from Jamaica. Never been to Africa before, and I was his tour guide. Like, you know, I'm going to show you Africa, I'm going to show you Ghana. And on that trip, we went to my hometown, and I was, you know, telling this is my hometown, my family home. If the world messes up for me, I can always come back here. And something happened, a conversation happened, it was happening with Fanti, and I wanted to say something, but I couldn't say it to Fanti, and I wanted to add to the conversation, so I said it in English. And my cousins responded saying like, in Canada, which is like, we don't speak English here. And to me, that was a moment, like, I think that's where I got my awakening. And it made me realize that, you know, for so long, I said, you know, I'm Black British. I understand the British culture as well as I can. And I always felt I was Ghanaian. Until I came to my hometown, like first cousin, same blood, and you're telling me I'm not from here. And then you're in the UK and you realize glass ceilings are all over the place. And then you feel that
sense of belonging, isn't it?
You don't belong here, you don't belong there. And I said, you know what, I need to go back and sort of train myself. So yeah.
And the opportunity to belong here is higher, right? You actually just, because it is your home, right? It's your culture.
No one can deny it.
Right.
No one can deny it. The only thing that would put you in a bad stead is probably not knowing the language.
Right.
Once you know the language, I mean, there's a guy we know, born in America, raised, but he can speak Chi better than 99% of the population. Who's going to deny it? He knows the culture and everything. So the language, I always say, it's the gateway. Gateway to identity.
they do say if you understand the language, you understand the culture.
You
right?
do, definitely.
Because
Yeah.
there's so many things in language that happen that gives you an understanding of the people, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm discovering in Sierra Leone. Even though I'm Sierra Leonean, it's been a new change for me. In the same way that when you went to your cousin's place, something similar happened for me. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
So later on, you guys decide to move as a couple back, right? And so when did you guys actually move back here full time?
Full time was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Just like
Okay.
yeah.
Was it around the winter time, December time?
Yeah, November
Okay.
time-ish. Yeah.
Okay. So I came for the year of return, so we're all here at the same time. Okay. So how are you guys adjusting, being back here? How are your kids adjusting? I'd love to hear all of that.
Yeah, sure. So I think what we did was we didn't want to just kind of throw everybody in the deep end.
Okay.
So from the time we decided that we would move to Ghana, I think it was 2016, we would come every year. I think even in one of the years we came twice in the year.
Okay.
To just kind of familiarize ourselves with the people, the culture, find out how much things cost. So, you know, the cost of living. Mike was asking questions way before about your standard electricity bill, your standard water bill, that kind of stuff. You know, buying food from the market. There's certain foods that fluctuate. So depending on whether it's seasonal, you have plantains, you have onions, and you may not think these things add up, but when you have to factor them into your day-to-day, because we realized that we weren't coming for the holiday life anymore. We were coming, so forget the restaurants, forget the bougie life. This is proper cut your coat according to your size. So we came and we found out all of those things, so that when we came, it wasn't like a massive surprise. It wasn't huge.
And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of it was preparation. It was asking people. Like, there's people who've made the move before us.
Sure.
And I was on the phone. I was like, hey, so how was it? You know, when was that point you got that moment where you're like, I just want to run away. I want to get back to the UK.
Right.
And why do you feel that way? You know, okay, that's why he felt that way. Does that apply to us? What can we do to make sure we mitigate against that?
Right.
X, Y, Z. So all these things, the children, preparing them, hey, you're going to be moving back to Ghana 2 or 3 years before. Hey, what do you think you like the most? What do you enjoy the most when you go on holiday? Asking them questions. What do you think you miss the most about the UK? Okay, you think you're going to miss that? Let's see if we can recreate that in Ghana.
Right.
So that there's something you always miss, but it's at a minimum.
Okay.
All these things were sort of playing back in the back of our minds, how best to make that transition as smooth as possible.
Okay. So on that note, what do you miss about the UK?
That's a really good question. Okay, because I have these conversations with my son all the time.
Okay.
This is not, it's going to sound so cliche. Okay, and I say this to him as well. There isn't actually anything I miss about the UK. There isn't. I can't think of anything. Probably, maybe there were certain friends who you knew if you wanted, you could just go and see them.
Sure.
They were just around the corner.
Sure.
But now, you know, I'm having to do with FaceTime. I'm really grateful that that level of technology is around now, where you can actually see and speak to them. But other than that, there isn't really much.
Same here. It's like family and friends, close family and friends. And outside of it, I think Ghana has most of the things you think you would want and you would need. I used to think, oh, you know what? You can go online, order this, next day it's here. Okay, that in Ghana, that's still a bit of a challenge.
Sure.
But there are ways, and sometimes you just have to plan that little bit ahead and know that, okay, it'll come in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Or it may cost a premium, a 20%, you know, extra to get what you want. But you can get it where maybe 15, 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. You would have to get on the phone and wait too long.
Right.
A lot of things are here. So
One thing I would say on behalf of the children is just places for the children to be able to go and play, or because we used to do a lot of like trampolining and that kind of thing. Yeah. So if there's anybody that's coming over thinking about perhaps doing something in children's services, it's a really good opportunity. And I think, you know, as people, when we spot these things, we should also let people know.
Yes.
Because just create those opportunities.
Because people do always ask, what kind of businesses should we start when we come here, right? I get that a lot on my live. This is one guy who's like, he has a new industry that he comes up with every live. He's like, what about this? What about this? So that's really interesting. Okay, and so on that note, so my social media manager reposted a post from Dentist Network, right? And it happened to be your kids.
Yeah.
So for those who follow me also on Instagram, program. Can you guys talk a little bit about what that was? Because I actually, when you mentioned it, I didn't even know. I was looking, I was like, these kids actually is really cool. I was like, yeah, post that post. And I had no idea that it was your kids.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about that? And
Yeah.
they had all the medals around their neck, and I'll put a little bit of a screenshot of it or a little video of it like right here so you can see it.
We just came back from a TESCOM gala. It was a blast, man. We had an amazing time. I won 6 medals, 4 gold, 2 silver.
I won 6 medals as well, 3 silver and 3 gold. I think we both did pretty well.
Yeah, we've had an amazing time. We are so tired right now. And then there are just a few people we want to thank. Firstly, starting with Mummy, Daddy, Uncle Nana,
And Auntie Lammy. And Adantia as well.
for giving us morale whilst we were doing the races.
And Adantia for eating all our popcorn while we finished.
Including the entire team for helping us. I also want to thank Jalil, Della, Essie, and mainly Christian for helping us prepping towards the final week of the gala. You guys have been a real help. It's amazing. We just can't thank you enough. And all the other people who we couldn't mention,
Which were, I think, yeah, did I? Yeah, I think I did.
so all of our friends, family, people who supported us, thank you so much for supporting us in the upcoming weeks. We really...
And Uncle Joseph.
Oh yeah, Uncle Joseph.
Yeah.
My homie. So we had an amazing time. Thank you so much for everyone who supported us. You were there in spirit. Oh yeah, Jalil, you were there in spirit as well. You had a cold, but yeah, you were there in spirit. So thank you so much.
But talk to us about what that was, what that day was, and you talked about how they're adjusting and seem to be loving it here. But I'd love to hear more about that. A lot of my audience is asking about what is it like for children here. So
Sure thing. You know what's so funny though? When it was actually one of our followers that sent us what you had posted on your feed.
Okay.
So then I was thinking, this is clearly meant to be like,
Yes, absolutely.
It was clearly meant to be. But it actually started, it was a swimming competition that I think was posted on your, so that they had been on. And back in the UK, there's this thing, I don't know if it's the same in America, but in the UK there's this belief, isn't it, that I guess blacks don't swim as well.
Yeah. Oh, in the US, I mean, black people perpetuate it though.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, especially in big cities where there aren't pools.
Yeah.
Right, access to water, especially in New York or like some of the major cities where most black people live, it isn't a thing, right? And it's also not cool. There aren't people in the Olympics swimming. You got black people in track, but not swimming, right? So you don't have the representation, and it gets perpetuated. I mean, comedians say it all the time. Black people don't swim.
Wow.
And we all say it too.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Yeah.
No, definitely.
So it's also there in the UK too.
It's here,
right?
it's here. I can imagine over there it's like, you can do baseball, you can do basketball, but swimming, nah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think Michael made it his thing when they were really young. He used to always take them swimming like every weekend.
Okay.
And then we realized that, the teachers that they would go to like weekly classes and he would take them once a week. But the teachers that would teach them would also notice that there was potential there.
Okay.
So we started to build up on that, and then we had a couple of galas before we left out, and they did really well. So as they say as parents, if you spot or you notice a gift in your child, you just really need to nurture it.
Sure.
So and again, it was nice. It was nice to kind of defeat that belief that maybe we're not so bad at swimming.
Right, exactly.
Maybe we're good at this. Yeah. And I think everything is investment. If you invest in that child, regardless of whether you've been told they can't be good at golf, they can't be good at robotics, they can, whatever is pushed up against us, we really need to take that up as a challenge and see how well we fare in that department, because I don't think there's anything that we really can't do.
100%. Yeah.
So I guess moving forward, coming here, that was one thing we didn't really want to deprive them from, was their swimming, because they have a real love for it.
Yeah.
So we came here, and fortunately, Ghana is a real kind of cliquey place. Like if you meet friends and there are things that interest you, make sure that you're having those conversations to find out if they know people that know people who have information about what you need. And fortunately, I think one of our friends was, his children were part of a swimming team that he recommended. And swimming is quite big over here if you're in that community.
Sure.
Yeah, it's quite big. So
I heard that there was the tribes closest to the water are big swimmers. Herman was-
Fancies.
Yeah, the fancies. Yeah.
That's him. That's my mom. We have no water, so that's what
Okay, so there it is. Okay, I was talking to a guy named when I was in Sierra Leone, and he was saying there is that difference between some of the tribes, like some of the northern tribes, like stay away from the water, right?
Yeah.
But some of the guys, like if you're closest to the water, like that's your thing. Everybody's swimmers or fishermen, right? They get out there in the water.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
we would drown. Like. No, definitely.
Okay.
But I think also what it is although you have people that swim, so you have tribes that swim really well, it's the technique that sometimes we're lacking in, and teaching the right techniques to be able to sort of carry them further.
Sure.
So yeah, we exposed the children to that when we came over here, and they've done 2 competitions so far, and they're doing really well. So it's again an encouragement for them to be able to see that they're able to do something other than the academia or whatever else you may want them to do. But yeah, swimming definitely is a thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the upbringing, you guys coming back, how you guys met. We talked about Destination Africa. Now I'd love to talk to you guys about Destination Africa Group TV.
Okay.
So the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
What is your focus on the YouTube channel? What stories are you telling? Who are you interviewing? All of that. So those who are watching, so that you guys can hear about it and then go check them out after you finish watching this video. Also, make sure you like, comment, subscribe too. But check it out though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? First and foremost, Destination Africa, we have to attribute to meeting you, because had we not decided to go the YouTube route, there's no way that, you know, we would have been able to meet yourself. So guys, okay, but we started Destination Africa Group TV as a spin-off. So there's a saying in Chi that, you know, there are certain keys that open doors, and that door would open another door, and so on and so forth. And we realized that our children needed a voice, and that voice was being able to put into archives the people that look like them but are doing great things in today's society. Because what we tend to find, especially in Ghanaian societies, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they say, you know, Nigerians tend to do this quite well in that they tend to collaborate when they do certain things. Like even their YouTube family is quite close knit, right? Yeah. But in Ghana, you tend to find that people are doing really well. Yeah, they do. So I guess there's that isolation, and they say if you want to go far. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you know, go in numbers. Yeah. So primarily, we wanted to really focus on the people that are doing things from illustrious and different backgrounds. So we're looking at art, architecture, food, cakes, creams, you name it, and they're actually really prominent in what they're doing. Some national, some international. But we also decided to do that with the children because we're homeschoolers, and everything that we do, you want your children to have that exposure from earlier on.
Right.
So it gave us a voice, and it gave the people a voice, because we don't come as one, we come as a people. So as a family, we thought, you know what? We can't do this alone. Let's just get the whole Ghanaian family involved, the whole African family involved.
Yeah.
And you know, it started off very small, didn't it?
I mean, that's the thing. So for us, like Abena was saying, you know, as we started Destination Africa workshops, we were telling the children about all these inspirational characters, all these significant figures in the past who've created and invented things which we still use today.
Right.
And I remember one of our workshops, the children were like, but all these people are old, all these people are dead.
Yeah.
And it rang a bell, and I thought, you know what, we need to find someone to live with. Uncles and aunties that look like you could be your uncle and auntie, and watch them, hear their story. Because you know, it's like, back in the days, you go and sit with the elders, and they will sit there and advise your life.
Right.
And you know what, there are people who've really been on a journey, they've traveled, they've lived, and they've got a story to tell. And it's for us to give them a voice to say, you know what, children coming up, this lady has built this empire over here. She's one of the most renowned African communicators. This is her story. Listen to it. Whether you know her, whether you don't, tune in from anywhere across the world. Use the mediums available to empower yourself and to know what's going on. So that's sort of one of the angles which it started from. And also, we wanted it just to share that young journey. You know, we have a few different angles that we take the channel through, but it's literally just there to empower and inspire.
Nice. Okay, and on that note, where can everyone find you online?
Okay, wow.
Online. So they can find us on YouTube at Destination Africa Group TV, on Instagram at Des Africa GRP, and our website will just be coming up, thedestinationafrica.com.
Nice.
So, yeah, check us out.
So all of that will be in the description below. Make sure you check them out. Thank you both for doing this. I really appreciate it. Doing it again.
Thanks for having us.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course,
listen,
of
this is
course.
the first of many, guys. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
We'll be doing more for
Exactly,
sure. For sure.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So again, thank you. And thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this content, if there's anything I missed, you guys always tell me if I miss a question. So let me know in the comments if there's anything you felt like I didn't ask, or if you have any questions for these two. I'm happy to relay it to them and make sure we answer those questions for you. You can reach out to them at all their channels and places below. And if you like this content, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know the next time the new video comes out. And I will see you guys all in the next video.
Yay.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
I told you, a dynamic couple, really interesting group. What did you guys think of the interview? What did you think of their story? Do you have any more questions for them? I'm gonna put their information in the description below, links to their website and their YouTube channel and all of that, so you can find them online. But if you have any questions that you feel like I did not ask, make sure you put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys and get your thoughts on what I missed. But guys, thanks again for watching. See you all in the next video. All right guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share it with your friends. All right, see you on the next video.
My people, there is an old African saying that says if a child does not feel the warmth of the village, it will grow up to burn it down. What a powerful saying, when all we do is care for our children, but what that means is absolute rejection. What does rejection look like? Rejection looks like when you're in a house with your child, you've birthed them, you've clothed them, you feed them, you give them everything and provide them with everything that they need. But yet still they grow up because they have no identity. They don't know their history, they don't know their traditions, they don't know their culture. And so they can't identify with the very ancestors that brought them into this world, the very ancestors whose blood runs through their veins. They have been compromised. And they've been compromised because they've been given a foreign name, a foreign language, a foreign identity. And now they don't know their purpose in this life to continue the legacy that has been started. Guys, we have started a Destination Africa channel just for you. This is an Afro parenting channel to ensure that you as a parent will really enjoy your parenting journey and also enable our children to continue the legacy that we have started and ensure that they grow up to keep that village warm and not burn it down.